following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Nothing I love more right now than witnessing, of all people, Andrew Dice Clay making a comeback. And I'm guessing across the glass, old Cole has no idea who Andrew Dice Clay is.
I do not.
A stand-up comedian that was big in the 80s and the early 90s. Kind of phased out. He had some health issues, Bell's palsy. He has overcome all that. He's showing up now on big stages in comedy. He was the first to ever sell out Madison Square Garden 2 straight nights. And he's the only comedian I can think of that has recycled the same material and it gets a huge laugh every time. He has his normal repeat bits that he's been doing since the 80s. I've always kind of liked Andrew Dice Clay. He's not everybody's cup of tea. But there's a lot of young, I don't know if social media influencers are the right term, just YouTubers or TikTokers, like to go out in the streets and make their cash by creating awkward situations for just random strangers. Well, Andrew Dice Clay has done that, I think, in a better way where it's not really, it's at most awkward. There's no contact with people, just running into people and creating comedy for a very short amount of time. He's doing it better than all the young folks that are trying to do $1 or mystery gift bits that get old after the first 3 videos. Welcome to the game. Mitch Fortner, Cole Dutchendorf. Cole, are you into stand-up comedy at all?
I do. I enjoy a few comics.
Who do you like? Do you know him by name?
I know Shane Gillis is a new one that I've enjoyed.
Very popular right now.
His comedy special on Netflix was pretty good.
I would say he's the most popular comic.
He probably
right
is
now.
right now. Yeah. I like John Mulaney back in his prime. He's maybe, I don't know if out of his prime is the thing for comedy, but it was like 4 years ago was when he was kind of in his heyday. Those are the main two that are popping up right now. I'll think on it and I'll get back to you if any more come into my head.
I'm really into comedy podcasts right now. It's the number one podcast genre, and it has been for like 3 or 4 years now. We're with you until 5 o'clock. We're out at 5 because we got K-State Hoops at 5, tipping off at 6 at UCF.
I thought of one. Norm Macdonald. I'm a big Norm Macdonald fan.
Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald.
He's a beast.
A legend. Going back to the SNL days. Going back to the SNL days for Norm Macdonald.
He's a legend.
Absolutely. We'll have MitchPom coming up at 4:40. I want to discuss once again Ayoka Lee and the K-State men. A reminder about postseason for college basketball these days. It's changing. The NIT and the CBI has more competition, and the Big 12 has opted in. I would say K-State right now in the bubble for a different tournament. We'll discuss and give you those details a little bit later on. Just kind of a reminder. I had to be reminded about it yesterday. I completely forgot about it. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. AEW Dynamite tonight from a near sold-out Front Wave Arena in Oceanside, California. Live tonight, 7 o'clock on TBS. And we are 11 days out from AEW Revolution, from the nearly sold out, and it's going to sell out. Actually, it's at the, what's the Staples Center now? Crypto.com?
It's the Crypto Center, I believe, or something like that.
They were at the Kia Forum. They moved it there in a bigger arena, and they are nearly selling that place out for the next AEW pay-per-view, which is 11 days away. He is one of the hardest guys to book in our business today. And I've learned that over the month because he's moving, he's shaking, he's making cash, and creating premium content for K-State Athletics. From K-State Online, we're finally once again joined for one segment today. Derek Young from K-State Online. DY, are you into any comedians or comedy these days?
I am. I appreciate the Shane Gillis recommendation. He's a good one. 2 that weren't mentioned that I'm a big fan of. One, or actually I'll go 3. One, Dave Chappelle. I think that he still resonates pretty well whenever he has a bit. Always like that. And, quietly, and this probably isn't as maybe mainstream as what other people would say is their favorite, but my number 1 is probably Sebastian Maniscalco. I think he's really good. He just hasn't had anything in a while. And I think that's actually a good way to do it when you put time in between your bits so they don't get as stale. And then I really, I guess, appreciate how Nate Bargatze does it because he's so much different than everybody else because he's not, profanity laced. And it's, to be honest, if you think about it, it's pretty hard to be really funny without using profanity.
Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan. I saw them about a month ago in Kansas City, and they had two superb stand-up acts when I saw them, and I think there was one cuss word the entire time. Well, there was some GDs in there, if you want to count that.
Yeah.
And that was from Seinfeld, but two really great comedians. I've really gotten into Stavros Halkias, if you guys know who he is. If you saw his picture, you'd probably recognize him. He does a lot of crowd work, and I really appreciate a comedian that can really bank and go toe-to-toe with improv with the crowd. That's
harder to do.
It's you got to be on your toes and really funny, like real quick to make that
also,
work.
The Staples Center is Crypto.com Arena.
Crypto.com Arena. AEW about to sell that place out in 11 days. DY, we got you just for a few moments here today, so I want to get right into some football talk. I wanted to get your 2 cents on all the moves. Chris Kleiman has a lot of guys getting promotions. Feel like there's now 7 or 8 guys who are assistant or associate head coaches now. Kleiman not only has moved the staff around, he has built himself an entourage, or in case something happens, there's guys ready to take over. And, like Luke Wells, he's now the tight ends coach. That's the only outside hire, which I guess if there was that one hire that maybe had people questioning, like, do I like it, do I not like it, I'm okay with it. What were your thoughts on all the pieces moving around for K-State football in a new staff, a new looking staff?
I know they called it promotions, and in some cases it was, right? Matt Wells is now the primary play caller. That's a definite promotion. Brian LePack goes from tight ends coach to offensive line coach. That is a definite promotion. But some of the support staff, like the titles, and they did call them promotions. I almost saw it as like a restructuring of the guard almost, and really probably updating titles because now all of those guys can coach on the field, right? The rules have changed. College football is so much different. It's not just your 10 coaches. I think those 10 are the ones that are allowed to recruit on the road, but anyone can now, go on the field and coach, whereas it wasn't always that way. So I think that's why you see these, quote unquote promotions for guys like Nate Kaxer, Matt Cardulis, David Orloff, which was interesting. Outside linebackers coach. So does that make Steve Stainer more so the inside linebackers coach? And if so, then is he only coaching really one player as well, just like Tui? So that some of that is interesting to me. But and then you have all the titles, like you said. Chris Kleiman has a bit of an entourage, and he does because I believe Van Malone is the assistant head coach. I believe Matt Wells is the associate head coach. And now Nate Kaxer is the special assistant to the head coach. So he's very well insulated at this point. I don't know if that's what he was going for. But I almost see most of this as a restructuring. In terms of Luke Wells, I didn't hate the hire as much as everyone else did. In my mind, I was like dreaming and envisioning maybe a younger hire kind of going and getting that next big name, so to speak, like they did with Brian LePack years ago. But with such a veteran group, a lot of older tight ends, and you probably got to manage the egos a little bit in that room going forward now, right? Because you have some of these, a handful of proven guys such as Braden Lofton, Willie Ncio, Garrett Oakley that you're probably managing egos a little bit. Maybe that is a better for an older coach or at least a middle-aged coach like Luke Wells, who has familiarity and knows exactly the way that his brother wants it to look like. So that didn't bother me at all. In terms of the promotions, keeping much of the replacements internal, I just think that's the comfort spot for Chris Kleiman that we've known and come to expect and anticipate, because he just goes with what he trusts. He's not a guy that really likes to go outside the box too much.
Yeah, he knows what he likes. I think we kind of were, by what we've seen in the past, it was easy to predict some of these major moves. Yeah,
did we all, as soon as Connor Riley left, I think all of us said, well, Matt Wells will now be the primary play caller, and LePac will probably be the offensive line coach. It was very, very predictable.
I had Matt Wells on yesterday, and he's looking for in a joking way, looking for recommendations for that first play call in Ireland against Iowa State. And you think about that talent, that what he's going to have this next season at, of course, Avery Johnson, a quarterback, Dylan Edwards and company, a running back, the wide receivers they brought in. Here comes Lincoln Cure at tight end. You can move him around, that's for sure. And you've played a little bit of college football 25. If I were to put you on the spot and call the first play of the season for Matt Wells, is there a play that you like? Or is there a particular individual you want the ball in their hands on the first play?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I actually haven't thought about it too much. I'm probably not just going to go with the old staple bread and butter run, typical inside zone, outside zone run play. I think I'd want to be a bit more creative, start with something that has the potential to be a safe call, but also an explosive one. So maybe some kind of creative screen concept to Dylan Edwards and just try to get him going early. Because when you think of the Iowa State defense, you think of a really good defense like sound, discipline, fundamental in the right spot at the right time. Not so much like a fast one that's really good in space. So I think Dylan Edwards could be pretty tough to harness for them if you get him out in open space and let him do some damage.
I'm thinking a Lincoln Cure screen to start the season off.
Lincoln Cure.
Yep.
That'd be interesting. I will say, like Matt Wells, we talked to him too on 3-Mall, and he doesn't seem very shy about admitting that he plans to use Lincoln Cure right away.
I'm thinking 4 verticals, like it is NCAA.
Jace Brown bomb.
Yeah, sure. You got options. There's some speedsters out there. You got some big boys.
Give them 3 transfer wideouts, 3 new ones there. So do you use a Jerron Tibbs or Jaron Bradley, who was recruited by Matt Wells at Texas Tech?
Yeah, I mean, you got guys with size, with speed. Give them a tree. Let them get out there and dance around a little bit. Let Avery Johnson make a decision. Find a guy in a hole and go make a play. We don't need to get too crazy, but let's get a little crazy. It's Ireland. I just assume there's just going to be a bunch of calls Avery's going to be starting to shout out Irish stuff.
Weather.
Yeah, sloppy weather, but also Avery, he's going to make some checks at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be all Irish stuff,
potato.
Yeah, leprechaun. That's a play to Dylan Edwards type of thing. Not to give too.
Dylan Edwards short.
Oh yes, I am. One short guy to another. Absolutely. The NFL Combine workouts. On field stuff, 40-yard dash type of stuff, weight stuff. That's going to be starting tomorrow in Indianapolis. We got 3 Wildcats in Indianapolis for this combine. You have DJ Giddens, Jacob Parrish, and Marquise Siegel. Again, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Right now, I guess all 3 guys, I think, are projected to go at least day 3. I think Jacob Parrish for sure has an opportunity to be day 2 for sure. Who do you think makes the biggest splash at the combine these next 4 days?
Probably Parrish, because I think his speed's going to wow some people. That guy can really run. He ran well in high school. We all remember that when he was at Olathe North. And DJ is a good running back because of his vision, his patience, a little unorthodox, right? That style that, start and stop. I change up my speeds when I have the ball. I don't know that some of that is necessarily going to show up at the combine, unless he just blows people away with a bench press or something. I don't know. I don't know that he's really a shorts and t-shirt type of dude. And Marquise Siegel either. I think Marquise Siegel is more, he can run a little bit, but I think he's more of a football player. And I think that's why he impressed people at the East-West Shrine game, and Jacob Parrish impressed people as a slot corner at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. So if I had to guess, I don't know that any of them is going to be necessarily eye-popping like Juju Brents was relative to the rest of the field. But I think Jacob Parrish probably will have some of the more impressive measurable numbers at the combine. And like you said, I think he'll go before both Giddens and Siegel. I think Siegel's probably on the edge of being a day 3 pick and being undrafted. So he has some work to do. He's going to want to continue to impress people. The interview process will be especially important for him as well. just as it was with Joshua Hayes when he came out of Kansas State and he got drafted on day 3 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think you're talking about similar things there between those two. DJ Giddens, I think he's going to get drafted, but he is coming out with probably the most loaded running back class in several years.
Not just loaded across college football, loaded out of the Big 12. Seems like everybody graduated this year out of the Big 12 when it comes to star running backs. Real quick, 2 thoughts on the game tonight. K-State in Orlando to take on UCF. Do you have a clue how this game is going to play out tonight?
I worry a little bit about K-State and how they finish this season because I'm not anticipating Coleman Hawkins being available. I'm sure you're not either. It didn't sound like he was close, so I can't imagine that he's going to play. And without him for the first game, this past one on Sunday against Arizona State, they needed a 9-0 garbage time run to even get to 50 points. Now, I think they'll get there this game because UCF is the worst defense in the Big 12. And they play, I think, at the top 15 pace in the country. So they play fast, shorter possessions. It means more possessions. Bad defense hopefully means more buckets made. But I think this is coming at a bad time because you have another game without Coleman Hawkins, I'm guessing. And your NCAA tournament hopes don't necessarily lie with this game. For all intents and purposes, it's going to lie what you do in Kansas City, because even if you were to win out the rest of the regular season, it wouldn't be enough. So you're away from home. You're just coming off that pretty brutal loss. I don't like the way that this is setting up. I think the line was only 4.5 points the last time I checked. It's kind of moved up and down a little bit between 3.5 and 5.5. I think the Knights are probably going to cover that, even though they're not playing great basketball either. And I think they just lost to Utah at home.
They beat Utah. They won on that layup with like 2 seconds to go.
Yeah, and they had lost 7 in a row before that.
True, yes. All right, DY, that's it. I really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Good to talk to you again. We'll see you down the road. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Derek Young from K-State Online joining us. When we come back, again, we're only on until 5 o'clock. That's pregame coverage from Orlando, Wyatt Thompson, Stan Weber. We'll have the call tip-off just a few minutes after 6, and it's another one of those ESPN Plus broadcast guys. I know it's been a whole lot of time this year on ESPN Plus, but you get to listen to it for free right here on KMAN. Still to come, MitchPom versus the Knights. When we come back, the latest on Ayoka Lee and the latest on K-State men's basketball and postseason play. It's not the NIT. It's not the NCAA tournament right now. Those details coming up next on The Game.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the game.
You, my friend, are in the game on News Radio KMAN.
At the game!
Manhattan Broadcasting is keeping it local. Dollars spent locally today help build a better community for tomorrow.
D&I Plumbing, Heating, and Air will provide honest and quality service when you need it most. From a leaky faucet to replacing your water heater. Trust the experts at D&I Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Your York and other makes and models local dealer. Call 537-7138 today.
Turn your memories into a masterpiece at Candlewood Frame Shop. Whether it's framing your favorite pictures floating around in the digital cloud or creating a shadow box with cherished things or memorable events. Candlewood Frame Shop. Let them turn your stories into a masterpiece.
For a once-in-a-lifetime experience, engagement ring shopping simply can't be duplicated on a computer screen. At Fifely Jewelers, you'll be pleasantly surprised by our pricing compared to buying online, and we offer financing. Plus, you'll have peace of mind by shopping locally with Fifely Jewelers.
Manhattan Broadcasting is keeping it local. Find more great local businesses plus special deals and offers when you keep it local on our website.
Information you can use in an ever-changing healthcare environment. America's Healthcare Advocate, Carrie Hall, Saturdays on News Radio KMAN.
We're here to educate and inform on the topic of healthcare and health insurance. We've partnered with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas to bring you these shows to educate you on healthcare and health insurance issues. That's why we're doing these shows here on America's Healthcare Advocate.
Join Carrie Hall, America's Healthcare Advocate, Saturday mornings at 7 on News Radio KMAN.
Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show comes to your radio every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We will discuss timely gardening and landscape topics to help you keep your lawn and garden in tip-top shape. Blueville Nursery has been your local landscape service and garden store for over 50 years, and we want to share our time-tested techniques with you. From vegetable gardening, spring and summer annuals, to shade trees and lawn care, we'll cover it all. You're welcome to call into the show to ask questions that apply to your own landscape or garden. Stay tuned to Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on News Radio KMAN.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about, what am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Okay, antibodies, huddle up. We're a great team, but the flu is dominating. The good news is the human we're protecting just got his flu shots. That means all of us antibodies have strong new gear that will help us fight and defend against the flu. We must win so that our human can stay healthy and help protect the people he cares about most.
Let's work as a team to defend against the flu. Gear up with a flu shot to help protect yourself and others and reduce your risk of being sick or hospitalized with the flu. Learn more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Your exclusive home for K-State baseball. News Radio KMAN.
That's going to be a fair ball down into the left field corner. Bishop gets to second. They're going to wave him around third, and K-State's back in front.
Coming off a big weekend in Texas, the Cats return to the Lone Star State. They open 3 in Frisco, matching up with LSU Friday afternoon. Coverage at 1:30.
The Cats play here. News Radio KMAN.
I'm Cole Belchendorf with a game sports update. K-State senior center Ayoka Lee will be sidelined for up to 2 weeks following an injury to her non-surgically repaired foot, the program announced on Tuesday. A return before the NCAA tournament is expected. Lee had a minor procedure done on her other foot that was causing her pain. She'll return to the K-State lineup in 2 weeks after the surgical incision is healed and is expected to be fully ready for March Madness. The 2025 Wooden Award midseason top 25 list member has had a strong 2024-25 season as she is averaging 15.5 points on a career-best 66% from the field, alongside 6 boards and 2 block shots per game. The Cats are off until Sunday when they visit Iowa State in Ames. The K-State men will be trying to end a 3-game slide when they visit UCF tonight, but will most likely be without Coleman Hawkins for the second straight outing.
As far as I understand, I'm not like when Luke tells me, Doc tells me, I'll know. Until then, I'm just pursuing, every day like we don't have him.
Jerome Tang's team sits in 11th in the Big 12 standings at 7-9, while UCF is 5-11 heading into the final stretch of the season. Tip-off tonight is at 5 o'clock for the coverage on News Radio KMAN.
I feel like I haven't heard this tune in a minute.
I haven't played this bed music my entire time on the board.
Well, it reminds me of the 2019 Oklahoma win for K-State football. And this was played after the referee comes out and says the ball was illegally touched, and Mo Bamba starts playing, and everybody was feeling it.
In its prime, it's tough to beat that kind of song for what it did to a crowd.
We're back on the game. We're live on YouTube. Search for News Radio KMAN. Hit that subscribe button so I can put down a down payment on a carton of eggs. And also for more K-State content, more also on local news as well in the area. So subscribe to News Radio KMAN, the YouTube account. And we live stream the show here every day. If you miss any of the show, you want the podcast, just search for The Game on 1350 K-Man. Wherever you listen to your podcast, hit the subscribe button there, wherever you listen as well. I was looking at during the break, the NFL Combine, all the guys that are invited, and I was looking at the running back class. And DY's right. I knew it for sure, but I just looking at the list, like, holy crap, the competition at this. It's going to be really hard for DJ to stand out with this crew that's just so talented. I mean, just running down the list, Jaden Blue of Texas, Taj Brooks of Tech, Donovan Edwards, who was on the cover of College Football 25 from Michigan, Trevor Etienne of Georgia, Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State, Omarion Hampton of North Carolina, RJ Harvey, UCF. There's 2 from Ohio State. They're both really good. Ashton Genty, Heisman Trophy runner-up. Corey Kiner of Cincinnati. Man, I could keep going.
Cam
Scatterbo of Arizona State, the Big 12 champs. Kyle Monungai of Rutgers, who's really good, that K-State played against in the Rate Bowl. Devin Neal of KU. Man, this is an extremely
It's a loaded running back class. It's insane.
Yeah. Be interesting to see if there are any that go in the first round. Of course, I think there's for sure going to be a couple that go in the first round. Quarterback will be popular early on, but I mean, Cam Ward and Shadur. I was wanting to say Shiloh, but that's not right. Shadur Sanders, the Heisman Trophy winner. They're not even like, I don't think
Travis Hunter was in
some classes I'm sorry, yes, you're right. Travis Hunter, I'm getting guys mixed up. Travis Hunter won the Heisman. Shadur Sanders was extremely good quarterback, but they're not listed like Mel Kiper's top 20 or something like that.
Really? And they're both going to get taken probably in the top 5.
Yeah. Anyway, back on the game. The actual draft is not for another couple of months, but the combine, the workout stuff, the stuff you want to tune in for, that starts tomorrow. And that will lead off with kickers, defensive linemen, linebackers. Nobody for K-State will be up until Friday is when you're going to start seeing defensive backs. So that's Jacob Parrish, Marquise Siegel, tight ends going that day as well. Running backs, on-field stuff, that'll start on Saturday. And DJ will wrap up on Sunday with the bench press and other things as well. So it'll be fun to follow along with that. We got the update on Ayoka Lee last night. It was like right after the show wrapped up. Here comes the email from K-State Athletics, who's always been pretty upfront. The women's basketball team has been pretty upfront about Ayoka Lee when it comes to injuries for forever. I mean, ever since she was a true freshman and had that season-ending injury before she even saw the court. So from the press release, Ayoka Lee is going to be sidelined for up to 2 weeks following an injury to her non-surgically repaired foot. I had to look at that a few times, and I'm like, the other foot is acting up now? Like, what on earth is happening here? Again, bigs, foot injuries, lower leg injuries. What is the deal at K-State? It's a long history of this nonsense, and it's always happening around, it's Big 12 play, it's postseason play. Too many of these interruptions. That's kind of killing K-State's momentum for a long run. But the word is there is a pretty big expectation that she is going to return before the NCAA tournament. I said on yesterday's show, I hate seeing Ayoka Lee miss any time. She doesn't deserve that. She deserved to go out on top, win a Big 12 regular season championship. She's already cemented herself as the greatest K-State women's basketball player of all time. But I'm really hungry for this team to go on a big NCAA tournament run. So I will take this. Now, it didn't help that I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but I started running through these scenarios because I get the sense there's a lot of people that feel like, Ayoka Lee was never healthy. She shouldn't have been out there in the first place against KU. Is she actually going to play in the NCAA tournament? And it got me thinking, first of all, in the KU game, the way they were playing her did not seem like it was just a get her out there for senior day, give her a standing ovation, and then she's done. And now it's kind of quality control with the media, not giving the committee a bad idea that she's never going to return, and that's going to crush K-State's chances of being a top 16 seed. I don't think it was that way at all. The way they subbed her back in and then got her out, I think there was a plan. That plan just came up short and ended early because Ayoka Lee was too sore.
Well, yeah, the entire time. I mean, Coach Mitty said it after the game that the soreness was, I think it was going back to the day before the game against KU, and then it just kept on kind of getting worse. It wasn't where they wanted it to be at. But this KU game was a target comeback basically as soon as they set this injury what it was. I think the conspiracy theories about it and surrounding it is kind of a load of bunk, if you ask me.
I'm totally all about, if she can play the NCAA tournament, I'll take that for sure. It's certainly not ideal because K-State, I mean, you need a win on Sunday. You want Oklahoma State to lose one of their next 2 games. I don't think it's going to happen. So it feels like K-State's going to be a 4 seed, but you still need to win in Ames, Iowa on Sunday to lock that in. And if not, K-State's not going to get the double bye. They're going to be playing. They're going to get a first-round bye, and then they're going to be playing in the second round and have some work to do. And just don't like now that K-State's not going to have Ayoka Lee until what it sounds like to be the NCAA tournament. You know, they're still playing for a top 16 seed. It's not guaranteed right now. They're still on the right side of that bubble, in my opinion. But there is just a little bit too much room now for things to not work out. You're going to have to beat some good teams to still earn that spot, in my opinion.
It definitely got a little bit scarier when you knew that Ayoka was going to be gone for at least the Big 12 tournament, because like you said, you're probably going to have to win at least that first game if you're the 4 seed, and you're for sure going to have to win probably the first 2 games if you're a 5 seed to get into the semifinals. I think semifinals, if K-State gets into semifinals, especially if they take down Iowa State, I think they're a lock. If they lose to Iowa State, they might have to at least make the championship. They'd have to probably beat one of the top 4 seeds I guess they'd have to beat one of the other top 4 teams in the Big 12, I think, to probably maintain that spot as a top 4 seed. But again, as you said, as long as you get at least somewhat of a healthy Ayoka to hopefully for the one last run, you'll take what you can get.
I want to switch quickly now to the men's basketball side of things and where K-State currently stands. The NCAA tournament, sorry guys, is not going to happen, and that's an extreme bummer. It's going to take a hell of a run, maybe even win the Big 12 tournament to make that happen. Coleman Hawkins out is not good news. 3-game losing streak. Not a lot of quad ones left in the regular season. Noise has to be made in Kansas City. I'm one of the more optimistic people you'll find that roots for K-State. I hate to say it, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that was, for me, the Arizona State loss was the final nail in the coffin, and it's K-State NIT bound. Well, just in case you forgot, for the Big 12, the NIT isn't now the second-best tournament. The second-best tournament is a new gimmick, 16-team bracket called the College Basketball Crown. This was created a couple of years ago by Fox, and it's a new alternative to postseason basketball that's not the NCAA tournament. And because the Big 12, the Big 10, the Big East are all affiliated with Fox, not the SEC and ACC, because those 3 conferences are affiliated, they have all opted into this tournament. So the top 2 teams that the Big 12 does not get into the NCAA tournament, the top 2 when it comes to the conference standings will automatically qualify, and they'll get automatic spots into this new tournament called the College Basketball Crown. 16 teams, and it's the same for the Big 10 in the Big East. The rest of the 10 spots are at-large pickups, and that's available to all the 11 that want to play in this thing. 11, I'm thinking college football. Any of the other conferences that they want to invite to this thing, whatever. It's at-large stuff. Doesn't really matter. Big 12 going to get 2 in. It's one of the few where it feels like it's still even, and K-State, the Big 12 still has the same top advantage. This is all in Las Vegas, and it's all going to take place through 6 days. Look, to me, this is not anything that's more special than the NIT. It doesn't move the needle better in a better position for me as a consolation prize for K-State, but it is something different. So K-State, I think right now would actually be going to the NIT, but K-State is one spot out of a top 2 position to make it to the college basketball crown. It is something different. Right now, there are 8 teams into the NCAA tournament, according to Joe Lenardi. Where the cutoff is, it would be TCU and Utah going. K-State would be that last team to not get in, or that first team to not get in, and would be NIT bound. I'm just sharing information with you. It's not making anything better unless you tell me something different. Unless you think this new tournament in Las Vegas might be a little bit interesting. Again, it's just a consolation prize. Maybe the only difference is since the top 2 of the Big 12 get in, and K-State's not one of those teams, does K-State decide, does Jerome Tang decide, we're going to say no to the NIT?
That would aggravate me personally. I think we shouldn't be above anything postseason at this point in this season.
See, again, I'm like...
Maybe that's just
like the CBI, forget about it. That's a waste of money. You're paying to get in type of thing. The NIT is... I couldn't have been less interested about that game in Iowa last year.
Right.
I felt, it sucked that K-State wasn't in the NCAA tournament. It's kind of the same thing this year. I feel like K-State with 4 games to go is basically in the same spot that team was last year, where 4 games to go. Do you feel like the hopes of making the NCAA tournament is you're just hanging on by a single thread? K-State had, though, plenty of opportunities before that to build that resume. You have to win games, but if you win games, you do have a decent shot. Well, last year, K-State down the stretch didn't win those games. And now this year, it's the same thing. K-State is not winning those games. With still 4 games to go, K-State's now way on the outside looking in once again. A week in Vegas does sound not too bad if you're me. I would just rather it be an NCAA tournament regional, not the basketball crown. Are we sure Saudi Arabia is not in charge of this? That's a WWE joke. All right, when we come back, MitchPom versus UCF. MitchPom is 16-10 versus KenPom this year. One of the few. By the way, the NIT they switch things up on how they select teams. Through the college basketball crown, that's just by standings. That's by the best ranked teams. And now, other than the 2 automatic qualifiers for each conference, the ACC and the SEC is now to the NIT, and they're just basically going off the metrics now. Net, KenPom, MitchPom, all that stuff. All right, we come back. MitchPom predicts K-State tonight versus UCF after these words.
Your home for K-State sports.
Glenn into lead for the record. She got it! She got it! The NCAA record! 61 for Ayoka Lee.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Are you tired of that outdated kitchen? Is your basement more dungeon than hangout, or do you need a complete new home build? Well, no matter what you're looking for, Greg Wag Construction has been making home dreams come true for over 30 years. Greg Wag Construction is the licensed, experienced professional builder that will give you the quality craftsmanship that you can trust. Don't believe me? Go online and look at his reviews. Give Greg Wag Construction a call at 785-313-3819 and build something amazing together.
This is Tori Berard, and I'm the bank manager at ESB Financial. We're a local community bank, and our vision is to help our clients achieve their dreams. So what's your dream? Is it to own a home in the Manhattan community? Do you want to open your own business? Or are you working on building your savings account for a dream vacation? Whatever it may be, we want to help. Come see us at ESB Financial and find out how our unbeatable products and customer service can help you achieve your dream. Member FDIC.
Eagle Housing Lender. Stormont Vale Health is your go-to for exceptional care right in your own neighborhood.
The Flint Hills campus in Junction City is open 24/7 with a full-service hospital and rural health clinic. You'll find primary care and advanced lab services at our Wamego clinic to keep your family healthy without the drive. Our Manhattan campus offers a wide range of primary and specialty providers, plus imaging and lab services, and a pick-me-up at Radina's inside our campus. Visit StormontVale.org.
Stormont Vale Health. High quality care closer to home.
Suicide is often a silent struggle, but no one has to face it alone. If you or someone you love is feeling hopeless, remember, there is help and there is hope. Reaching out is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of courage. Together, we can turn pain into healing and despair into strength. Help is always available. Visit Pawnee Mental Health's Crisis Stabilization Unit at 1558 Hayes Drive or call our crisis hotline at 1-800-609-2002. Both available 24/7. You don't have to face this alone. Help is just a call away.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Your News Radio KMAN Manhattan area weather forecast. This afternoon, sunny skies and a high near 65, a northwest wind around 10 miles per hour. Tonight, still no clouds, clear skies at the low around 34. Tomorrow, sunny and a high near 63, still that persisting northwest wind, again 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, clear and a low around 38. Friday, still sunny with a high near 69.
Here's MitchPom with tonight's prediction.
Man, the NIT used to be a really big deal. Really, really, really big deal. And it's like bowl games. They just became a lot of nobody cares. The prestige just kind of drifted away. The NIT is not what it used to be. Now that here comes the basketball crown, the college basketball crown elbowing its way into the pecking order of postseason tournaments, means a lot more now to the Big 12 than the NIT does. All right, here we go. MitchPom tonight. K-State and UCF. Cats on the road. They're 13-14 overall, 7-9 in Big 12 play. UCF 14-13, but 5-11 in the conference. This is from the Edition Financial Arena in Orlando. I've been there before. I've been there for an AEW Dynamite. I had a good time. There's a giant staircase that everybody has to climb to get to their seats, though. Didn't like that too much. It was like 50 steps. K-State tied for 10th in the Big 12 with Utah. UCF is 14th. K-State not on the March Madness bubble anymore. Now they're on the college basketball crown bubble. They're just 2-8 on the road, though. UCF on the NIT bubble. K-State leads the all-time series 3-0, winning the game last year. Pretty lopsided at one point in last year's game. K-State led by 30 points. They won by 15. Check that. Did my math wrong. 77-52. They won that by 25. UCF just ended a 7-game skid. A win at home over Utah, 76-72. Darius Jones hit a game-winning layup, 2.8 on the clock. And then Utah's coach gets fired. Utah shot 51% from the field, but they turned it over 19 times. And, you know, prior to this season, as I break down UCF, under Johnny Dawkins, it's been a team that hangs its hat on defense. Offense was so-so. And with that mentality, they got to one NCAA tournament, 3 NITs. This year, it's the complete opposite. Offensively, in the previous 8 seasons for Johnny, his nights averaged 69 points per game. Not too great. But this season, his team is averaging 79 points a game. And in Big 12 play, is averaging 77.6. In conference play, that's pretty good. That's second best in the Big 12. They are the Big 12's worst shooting team for a long time. And now they're not too bad. Well, I should put it this way. Sticking with the offense, they are the worst Big 12 shooting team actually this year. I messed up. 41.3%. Their two-point shooting, not the best at 48%. And like K-State, they're 33% from three-point range. Where they really hang their hat on offensively is their pace. They are one of the nation's best when it comes to possessions. 76 possessions per game. They get a shot up every 15 seconds. Typically, there's 15, 16 seconds left on the shot clock on average to get that shot up. There are only 12 turnovers per game, and you think about that pace, that's a pretty good number. Their solid to get to the free throw line is 78%, and second best with 12 offensive rebounds per game. So, again, they're not the best shooting team, actually statistically the worst, one of the worst in the Big 12, but they're still averaging 78 points a game thanks to their pace. Now on defense, they're the worst defense in the Big 12. To me, it's not really that close. The Knights defense allowed an average of 65.5 points per game the previous 8 years under Johnny Dawkins. This year, they're allowing 80.3 points per game. In the previous 8 seasons for UCF, they allowed teams to score 90 points 5 times. In the previous 8 years, 5 times. This year, they've allowed teams to score 90 plus 8 times. Teams are shooting 48%, worst number in the Big 12. 53% from 2, 58% the last 3 games. That's not a good trend for them. Teams shoot 33.5% from 3, but they don't take a ton. Opponents aren't taking a ton of threes against UCF because they get to the hoop. UCF's defense, the worst in rebounding. They force 13 turnovers a game. That's not bad. They win games by, again, getting to the free throw line, hitting more threes. They just basically want to outshoot you from distance, and they want you to foul them, get into foul trouble. All right, players for UCF. I'm just going to hit a couple of the highlights here, and it's no doubt about it, their star is Keyshawn Hall. Transfer 6'7" guard. Their best player heading into the year, Jalen Sellers, out with an injury. He's only played 3 games this year, so it's been Keyshawn Hall. He leads the Big 12 in scoring, 21.3 points per game. He shoots the ball 15 times a contest in Big 12 play, 41% from 2, and not too bad from 3. 43% in Big 12 play from three-point range. He also leads the team in rebounding. And then I would also go with Darius Johnson, averaging 15 points per game, 4 assists per contest, and he's one of the best defenders in the nation, believe it or not, when it comes to steals at 2.5 per game. Those are the 2 guys that are the real killers on this team. Well, keys to the game, obviously need a big game from Doug McDaniel and Max Jones. They did not have a good game at all against Arizona State. You have to win the paint in this kind of contest. Don't get beat getting back on defense because they're going to want to get out and run as UCF. Again, they push it, their pace. K-State has to get back. So there's going to be maybe a little bit of a fine line on battling for the boards and getting back to play defense. I worry about this one for K-State just by how good UCF's offense can be. MitchPom has K-State losing this game, only a 42% chance of winning. UCF with a 2-point win, 79-77. I think it's worse than that. I'm not picking K-State to win. 29% chance. I'm having UCF win this game. Final score, 78-69. Again, I just feel like without Coleman Hawkins, it's going to be a bit of an ugly game, but it'll be a little bit more higher scoring because UCF's defense is just plain old trash.
Yeah, if I was throwing a score out there, I'm going to take your score and I'm going to add some to it. I'm going to go like 88 for UCF and throw like 72 for K-State because I've just lost all hope.
Yeah, not a lot of that left now that the NCAA tournament is in the
it's going to take a miracle run to win the Big 12 tournament in KC to get a bid.
All right, do we have time for a couple of cues here?
I think we do. Do you have any in mind?
Oh,
you put me on the spot.
Cole.
I wasn't planning on doing the Ask Us 8 thing today. I thought, we're not going to have time. I don't know if these were asked yesterday. These were up on the pad right here. Your first job, was that asked yesterday?
No, my first job was at a restaurant in Morganville. I worked once every 2 weeks on Saturdays for the chicken fried steak buffet. It was once every 2 weeks, and it was really good. Really good. But I was also only 12 or 13 years old. I was paid under the table. No checks, no IRS, no taxes. I made like $25 a night. And every month and a half, I could go buy a new video game or something.
There you go.
That was my first job.
Was doing some like janitorial stuff. Was basically the first job that I had.
I couldn't do anything like that. Be a janitor, be cleaning.
I didn't love it.
I mean,
it was when I was like 14, getting like $90.
Yeah, cleaning my own toilet. I'm just thinking about, do I have to do this? Can I just hire somebody? What does that cost? $150? I think that's worth it.
Yeah, I wish.
Get that deep cleaning one time.
Honest.
All right, we got to wrap it up. We got pregame coverage of K-State Hoops taking on UCF coming up next. They tip off just after 6 o'clock. For Cole Dutchendorf, I'm Mitch Fortner. We're back for 2 hours tomorrow. We'll be joined by K-State pitcher Lincoln Sheffield and D1 Baseball's Aaron Fitt on tomorrow's show. Thank you for listening to the game. Go Cats.